Hello and welcome back to GOODSTORMS Games. We've got on here the excuse me. No, that's not the button I wanted. Pause. 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 Oh, off to a good start. Anyways, we got the Stratospheric Vehicular Entry Engagement Drone with Electromagnetic Radar. S.V.E.E.D.E.R. So I've been working on this for a little while. In the background, that was the Black Mist, which I have not completed yet. I've been working on this thing. I worked on this for like 3 days, and I'm not really happy with it. I think I'm going to restart it. I had a bunch of cool ideas on this build here, but it's going to be rebuilt. I'm going to go over it in a little bit after I go through this little feature here. So this feature is a sort of like an airplane. It's pretty futuristic looking. I'm really enjoying this aesthetic. Like, look at this thing. This thing's absolutely gorgeous. It's very inexpensive, considering. Well, I mean, it's not as inexpensive as a lot of things, but fairly inexpensive. It has 8 rounds of what I like to call smart missiles. So, they have a 1 turn on them. And what's really fun about these is when this plane is kind of sideways, they launch forwards, kind of floating, reorient themselves towards the target, and then launch themselves really fast at the target. It's a lot of fun. Actually, I kind of might want to... Should I put short range thrusters? The flight duration 4.2 seconds. You know what? I'm gonna change it to short range thrusters. Wow, those look goofy. Ah, variable thrusters. Variable thrusters just look nicer. Yeah, let's keep the variable thruster. It can't turn very quickly, so we're going to keep the variable thrusters. Alright. Yeah. Let's keep going through the features. 1, it's super decorative. Gorgeous build, this is. 2, it's got these missiles. I love these little smart fire missiles. 3, it's got 2 active radars, as well as matching AI and not AI controllers. Local weapon controllers hidden in here. The AI is an attack run AI, and it will attack either below or above the target, which is fun. Could be fun for engaging airships. This thing has a few, just a little bit of lift, just a bit of wings in the middle here. It has a bunch of control surfaces on here. I added these recently, the little wings on the side here. They have a lift factor of 0. If you find, which I found with this thing, is that it likes to slide sideways, add these. Add vertical stabilizers. It's a concept in aerodynamics, in aircraft design, having vertical stabilizers. It prevents you from sliding sideways. That's why the stealth bombers and things are very, very finicky. Like the Blackbirds and stuff, because they're like those flying wing designs are, well, they're not very stable or easy to control. So you need a lot of computing power to stabilize them so you fly them in the right direction. You can do a lot with variable thrust, which I have on here. This thing has variable thrust. Forward, yaw, right, left. It also has, like again, a bunch of control surfaces all over, which are really fun. They're all in weird places. it has 2 steam jets, which are really interesting. I reduced the maximum steam usage, and these things are actually really awesome. They work in all environments, so underwater, in space, because when this thing was flying all over the place, it'd occasionally end up in space. It's much more manageable now. It doesn't flop around crazily, which there's a downside to it. I like this aesthetic better than just having a reliably floppy craft that AIs can't shoot, like a flying squirrel. I'm not a big fan of the flying squirrel. This basically flew like the flying squirrel, sliding all over the place, and even worse, actually, it just spiraled and flip-flopped all over and just flew up into space all the time. It would get close to its target, but it had a hard time tracking it at all. But yeah, if you reduce the steam usage, you can actually get how much it's using per second very low. It's using 0.1 material per second right now, which is phenomenal. Well, 0.3 material per second, which is amazing. If you're using fuel or anything else, it'd be really, probably fairly comparable, but this thing has basically, I don't know, it doesn't have a lot of radar section either, so this thing's fairly stealthy. Let's look at those functions here. Which is the key? This one? I thought it was this one. This one? Let's just click on it. Oh. Yeah, it's because I'm paused. 1 second. There we go. So there's its visual cross section. It's most visible from the top and the bottom. 200 meter. For the sides, it's basically invisible to detection. Oh, I didn't give this any black smoke or anything. Whatever. The black mist will have it. The big thing about the black mist was to be using. Well, let's see here. Defenses. Smoke dispensers. Since smoke dispensers mess up any kind of visual signatures and also as protection against lasers, it was supposed to be designed to basically hide in smoke. So these can't really hide in smoke because there's no space for the smoke dispenser. I mean, there is space, but then I'd have to do some cheaty stuff. I could put it behind here, or in front of here for that matter, but well, behind here would probably be better. I could put it behind here, and I could put the decoration block. Where is it? Where is that decoration block? The smoke generator. Alright, particle type, smoke. And I can make it very dark. Speed, size factor, 10, 100. Gravity, 0. Ignore drag. Yeah. And I could probably put another one here. Let's see this. Can I copy this? Man, they really need a copy function for everything. I have to prefab things all the time because there's no copy function for so many things with a bunch of settings. There you go. Interesting. What if I just can do this real quick? No. Yes. Sub-object? Prefab mode. There we go. If I do this, put it in the front, it gets blown away, which is kind of annoying. Huh. That is kind of interesting, though. I kind of wanted it to follow it. Yeah. This black smoke. So heavy. But I'm going to do something like that for the black mist. Have it shrouded in all this mist and smoke. And put a smoke generator on it as well. But for now, I'm going to leave this one like that. So I don't have to deal with that smokiness. Smoky business. But yeah, there's a... here, if we go into add new mimic, we can go empty. If you look up empty mimic is an invisible mimic. And then you can hide original mesh. If there's anything that you ever want to add on to a ship, but you don't want to see it at all, you can always make it an empty mimic. It's great. It's an amazing option that's in there. Now, we're going to delete that decoration because we don't need it. But yeah, this is my S.V.E.E.D.E.R. It's great. Let's give it a target. Actually, you know, before that, let's go over to the black mist real quick. As you notice, there's nowhere to sit on this. It's supposed to be a drone. That is the point. That's why it's so small. And it's going to be great fitting this into a build that kind of carries these, because they are quite small. It's about 10 wide by about 10. It's basically a square. It's about 10 by 10 by 3. So it doesn't take up a lot of space. So I can fit quite a few of them in a build. Where'd the black mist go? Hey, black mist. Can I build any? Build. I guess I'm gonna have to teleport to you the old-fashioned way. Listening. Let's. Oh, before I do that, let's save vehicle. The S.V.E.E.D.E.R. There you go. Save our the S.V.E.E.D.E.R. I've put so much work into this. I love it. I'm using, of all things, I'm using missile parts. I'm using the jet parts, the custom jet parts. These are machineries which are in the decoration props. And I'm also using in the defenses here as decoration, which is really fun. I'm using, oh, sorry, for decorations. It's not AI, it's defenses. Yeah, the signal jammers, which is amazing. I actually really like them. Them kind of placed all over like this is fantastic. This thing looks like it should be shooting lasers, but it shoots missiles. Who would have guessed it, right? Missiles look great by themselves. We've got all these different parts going everywhere. It's pretty fantastic. There's a couple of steam generating things, a couple little parts in here. Trust me, making these things small is really annoying. Also, here's a quick tip here. If you go into the mode here, see how there's all these wheels here? There's little buttons up here. You can move, scale, rotate, and you can click on the part itself. Or if there's a bunch of parts in the same area, you can click around to select different parts. Right? It's, it's great. It has to be all like in the same decor block because they're tether point. But that's what you do. There is, I don't really understand it, but there's a way to convert mimics into various things. If we go to decorations, if we just make a mimic, just a mimic alloy, we're gonna place one for a moment. Yeah, I can make it a decoration instead. correctly tecker to a block. Now, so it's basically like all these here. It's really weird. I wish there was a way to make a block decor, basically like a custom block, but eh. I've done so much decor on this, and if we... Did I teleport over to it yet? There we go. Teleport over to the Black Mist, since I saved it. This kind of where I started. I started with a bunch of decor on this. If you noticed, these are not normal shapes. I do suggest that you go into blocks of all sorts, place down a block that's the closest, covers the most amount of area. So this, in this case, this is a... Actually, this is a 2, I think. I should probably replace it with one of these, though. Yeah. Place down one of these blocks. It covers the most area that you're doing. So if you're doing a 3x3, you place down a triangle, press Control-Shift-X to add that triangle. And then if you really want to, you can increase left and right. Oh, actually, I'd also suggest using one of these things, because you can just do 3, and left and right, 3. Oh, not left and right, that's 1. Up, down, 3. And now you have a 3x3 shape. Adjust the shape. I would save these in your prefabs. -1, forward and back 1. There we go. See? And now you have a 3x3 slope, which is a block that doesn't exist in the game. So you can make all sorts of these blocks for all sorts of things. I would not use it for something you're going to walk on, because you're going to fall through it, because there's nothing there. You can do empty things, like add a bunch more slopes to the sides, and make them empty blocks as well, if you want the full coverage of armor in that area. So you could do like, just so it, you know, things that are hitting it are hitting something. You can do that, and you can make a new decoration, empty mimic, and hide original mesh, right? And then you can prefab it all and save the prefabs. It will save you a lot of time to set up a folder with different weird shapes. So you can just go into that folder, pick the prefab out, and use it, especially if you're going to be using a lot of them. You're always going to find times where you have blocks that don't quite fit, and you're like, oh, I need it to be one block larger to fit the aesthetic of the build. And it, you know, you can save a bunch of these. These are you get the most use out of, these slopes, just doing these weird odd shaped slopes that aren't in the game. You could do a mod, but this is how you can do it vanilla. You just make them with decoration blocks. I learned this from one of the Steel Strider ships. I don't remember which one, but it's really smart. Yeah, this thing has a bunch of cranes. I kind of like the crane idea, but I think I'm going to abandon it, since the crane idea really came out to hide the ugliness of that. Something you have to think about when you have spinning mimics parts, especially if you're using like steam turbine bits. I used a large steam turbine, I believe, for this. Maybe a medium one, don't remember. I think medium because I think they're only one thick, whereas the larger two. Yeah, and this is also tethered. You can switch the tether points. And so this is tethered all the way at the top. And I hid the exhaust part. You can also turn off the exhaust. Extra configures. So if you're ever like looking to design things, like just all these are little tricks I found out the hard way. Oh, these are fun. I spent a whole day making these guys. So I can go to control all here. Let's do that. Where's my little guys? Where's my little guys? Hey, little guys, what you doing? Notice how they move in the chairs? They're not 100% stuck. They kind of a little glitchy if you move too quickly. But when they're being aimed by the controllers, you don't really notice. But this here is the only way you can get mimics in these turrets or holding on to stuff is by putting another block down here, one-axis turret, and tethering all of the individual mimics, because you can't set up. There's no way of setting up a mannequin and then turning it into a mimic, which is a travesty. It'd be great to be able to turn mimics or mannequins into mimics, so you can sit them on things like guns, so it looks like your crafts are populated by things. Now, if I really wanted to, I would make animate the mimics on the guns. You would basically make one of these controlled by the same AI, basically, but with different pivoting points so that it could pivot up and down, or the arms and things. Actually, that doesn't really work. If you want something to rotate, you really have to have the pivot point in the spot, so that doesn't work. You can't animate these in blocks. This is the best you can get is a still. It'd be great to be able to have animated mannequins, basically, that you can turn into decoration blocks so you can sit them on guns, because that'd be really fun and really add to builds. And that's how I learned. So that whole the whole tethering process, or sorry, working from the tethers, is I learned that while working on these, because these are, let's look at these. What's going on here? There we go. Okay, there's two there. That's how many mimics are in these two mannequins. It's a lot. There's about 50 per gun. Well, not 50, sorry. That's 33 per gun. It's so many. And that's how I learned how to manipulate these things by these parts. Because if you notice, the tether point on the mimics, like where it rotates from, is different. So it's very handy to set it up this way. Well, not that handy. It still took me a whole day to set up these two mannequins and then copy pasta them all into all of these. It was a drag, but it was worth it. It was worth it. I will be stealing these from this build because I'm not doing it again, and putting them in my new builds. I also might add some gun things, maybe. I don't know yet. The problem with simple weapons is you can't decorate them at all. They are pretty good looking on their own, but I wish you could actually decorate them. It would be really nice. Because this is a 3x3 block. But anything that you add as a decoration, and I'll show you. So say I want that as a decoration. Now I take control. You notice it doesn't move. It's stationary. It doesn't move with the gun. Whereas a lot of things, I'm going to show you with this gun, really quick. This turret, I mean. If I slap this onto here, right? Not only does it resize itself for cram cannons and auto cannons for some reason, it also will move with the gun, right? And or rotate, whatever the case might be. It moves in some way. Oh, there's a tether point where you can add a bunch of decorations, move them around so that they'll move up and down or rotate with the gun. So that's fun. But you can't do that with simple weapons. It'd be really nice to be able to do that because you could get some really fun flavor on builds with simple weapons on them by adding a few decorations. Right? Like you could completely change the feel of these guns with a few decorations. You could make them super sci-fi, you can make them kind of like organic-y weirdness if you wanted. You can make them look like, I don't know, crossbows or whatever if you wanted to. Otherwise known as ballista. I was like thinking for ballista, not crossbows, but it's alright. Oh, by the way, this build, big reason why I want to rebuild it, I'm going to show you really quick. See how that's how many resources I have? Watch as I turn off the resources over here. And resources go bye-bye. There must be resources nearby from destroying ships, but it goes down so fast. I think this thing burns through about 100 resources every 2 seconds-ish, which is a little insane. You really can't keep this thing flying unless you have a very strong economy already. The S.V.E.E.D.E.R, on the other hand, uses like, during battle, uses like 4 material per second. So it can be engaged with an enemy for basically like 3 minutes before it runs out of resources, which is great. This thing just chugging along, not in battle, 100 materials like every 2 seconds. It's ridiculous, like 50 materials a second. It is a hungry beast, and that's why I'm going to rebuild the Black Mist. And I'm going to change the aesthetic a bunch, because I kind of like that sci-fi aesthetic that I've been making with these builds. So, where's the S.V.E.E.D.E.R? I want a S.V.E.E.D.E.R. Let me teleport over to the S.V.E.E.D.E.R that doesn't have anything for me to teleport onto. And I'm just going to go like that. And let's pause. F11. Pause. Where's the S.V.E.E.D.E.R? Hi, S.V.E.E.D.E.R. Yep, back to S.V.E.E.D.E.R. I'm pretty sure I've talked about everything about the S.V.E.E.D.E.R, which is great. Really enjoyed it. Oh, these guys are shield protectors, if you recognized it. There's also some engine parts in here. Cylinders. There's the radar decoy there. Actually, I just thought of something. Let me add. We're going to defenses. A couple more of those radar decoys. Oh, I can press F11 now. Yep. Yeah. Why you can't build while the game is paused during designer mode, I will not understand, but it is the thing. And a thing you should be aware of. Yeah, kind of like that. Cool. I'm all done here. And I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time on GOODSTORMS Games. And have a good one. Oh, I thought I was done, but I'm not. I just remembered. So this max Steam usage. A little point about this build. there's a feature that isn't added yet. And it would be this. ID set. So, this number here. I don't know why you cannot set the allowable Steam usage on the Steam Jets, but at the moment you cannot do that, so it's a locked property, which is too bad because I really wanted to be able to move at a decent speed underwater with these jets, but in order to do that, I need more thrust. It would require a lot more material because I'd bump it up to 1,000, which is the maximum steam that this thing can create is 1,000 steam. Or sorry, steam per second, 750? That was the maximum. Oh, I should reset this. 750 is the maximum. 750 C. No, that's not 705,000. 750. Thank you. Yep. But I think I'm kind of making my own custom faction at this point. I think I'm going to use steam jets a lot. Some propellers. But a lot of steam jets, I think, because they're weird and fun to use. There we go. 750. There we go. So, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. And remember, leave a comment, like, all that good stuff, if you want to see more of this. I'm really enjoying this right now, so I'm going to have a lot more fun building these little ships. Right now, this thing sci-fi is frickin' frack. It's going to be great. It's beautiful. Anyways, bye again, and, keep it foxy.